My dad walked into our house in his pilot uniform, looking as charming as ever. "Dad!" I screamed, throwing myself straight into his arms.
Hey, my baby love!
He grabbed me and squeezed me tight. "You look amazing, Dad! I want to be a pilot just like you when I grow up." My parents burst into uncontrollable laughter. What?
Heck no!
Exactly.
Women, especially who look as good as you and your beautiful mother here,
He hugged my mother and squeezed her shoulder in an affectionate way.
do not need to work that hard in order to be able to survive. All you need is a good, responsible man like me to take good care of you.
Yup. Huh? But I want to be a pilot. I love flying.
Your husband will fly you around the world.
What about money? I'd like to make money too. Your husband must give you more money than you need. But I'd like to do something.
Enough. If you really want to work, something that's absolutely unnecessary for someone like you, then why don't you try becoming a makeup artist or a beauty influencer like we keep seeing online?
Makeup? Beauty? I'm not interested in all these boring activities. I want to be a pilot. My mom lost her balance for a second and almost fell down after I said this.
Oh my God, honey, what's the problem?
Love wants to kill me. I have no idea what we've done wrong. My dad held her from behind and made sure her feet were strongly on the floor so there was no risk of her falling.
She's only 10, my darling. She has no idea what she's talking about.
He said as he carefully guided her towards their bedroom while she clutched her head and heart. Jeez, so dramatic. I may have been an ordinary 10-year-old child, but I knew exactly what I wanted and exactly what I was doing. I was going to prove them wrong and surprise them in a way they never thought possible. At least that's what I thought. Until they surprised me in a worse way. Watch till the end to find out how this happened. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to have supportive parents or be a supportive parent yourself. My parents were terrible. Yes, I mean it. Do you have any idea what I went through after and even before the conversation you just watched? Of course you don't. Fine, I'll tell you. Right from the very beginning. My mother was what you'd call an empty skull with a beautiful face. She believed that the power of a woman lay in her outward appearance, face, hair, skin, and body. It had nothing to do with anything inside, like brains. She won the genetic lottery and was stunning. Everything came easy to her, from money to a good handsome husband and a good rich life. She didn't work because she believed that working hard was for ugly women alone. When she gave birth to her daughter, moi, she named me Love, because she believed that my gifts would attract more love to me than I thought possible. She knew that her daughter would win the genetic lottery just like her, and she was right. Everyone always oohed and awed at her luck in giving birth to such a beautiful child. Imagine how she felt when she realized I was kind of different. I didn't care about girly things like dressing up, putting on makeup, or looking good. I enjoyed reading, schooling, working hard, and my dream, surprise, surprise, was to become a pilot like my father. You know what happened when I told them my dream career for the first time already? My mother almost fainted. Imagine that! I vowed to live a life that would prove them wrong, but my parents didn't plan to make it easy for me, especially my mom. She started doing crazy things like changing my homework answers in the middle of the night so I'd fail, making the house noisy and impossible to read in, and so much more terrible stuff. Anything to stop me from studying harder and becoming an embarrassment. My mom seized my laptop and phone when she saw that they were also aiding me with study. And she even went to the extreme of trying to withdraw me from school. Luckily, my father did not allow her to proceed. It was a terrible childhood indeed, but I could do nothing else but manage through it all, knowing that I was fortunate to have rich parents who cared about me a little bit, while waiting for the time when I'd be old enough to run away, live on my own, be whatever I wanted, and never return, ever. Love! My mom called out melodiously one morning. Yes, Mom? I screamed from my room upstairs.
Come down quickly. We've got some great news.
I ran down quite quickly, eager to find out what this great news was about. "What's the news?" I asked as I sat in the living room with them.
Remember Mr. Money?
"Your billionaire friend that came over for dinner with his son the other night." "Yes, I do."
Amazing! They were wowed by your godlike beauty and decided you should join their family. We've all discussed it, and you'll be marrying his son once you turn 18.
"What? Well, they loved your outward appearance, of course. Duh! You inherited your features from me, obviously. But they don't think you behave like a lady enough. Don't worry about this, though. It will be fixed shortly. You will withdraw from your current high school and start schooling in a wife school." What now?
These types of responses are the exact reasons why you're not ladylike enough.
"I'm very sorry, Dad," I said, curtsying. Then I turned my attention back to my mom. What now?" My dad rolled his eyes and shook his head. "A wife school, sweetie. A place where rusty women like you are sent to become more feminine." I fell on the floor and started crying. Were my parents really about to withdraw me from high school and send me to wife school? Just for some random boy? What kind of family was I born into exactly? I cried and begged them to let me continue at my normal school. I promised to change and become everything they wanted me to be, only if I was allowed to stay at my current school instead of being forced to attend some stupid wife school. After some consideration and a lot of smirking, my mom agreed to keep me at my current high school on the condition that I still marry the politician's son once I turn 18. I had no other choice. I agreed. While being the model, feminine, ladylike daughter that my parents had always wanted me to be, I read books in secret, learning how to build my future into exactly what I wanted it to be. I also signed up on freelance platforms and started working as a writer online. I got more money than I could ever dream of while working as a freelance writer, but I saved every single penny, in secret of course. The plan was to run away forever once my age clock struck 18 o'clock. It was crystal clear to me at this point that my parents were badly crazy, and their plan was to ruin my life forever. As arranged, I went on frequent dates with the politician's son, during which he just kept rambling about himself, his life, his parents, and so many other irrelevant things. Honestly, I never cared to listen to the stupid, lazy boy that was working with my evil parents to make my life a living hell forever. I simply faked a smile and nodded in response to everything he said. He seemed to enjoy it too. Perhaps he was happy that he was marrying someone who agreed with everything he said. Or perhaps he thought that women weren't even supposed to have an opinion in the first place, so I was behaving like a real woman. Whatever his reasons were, I didn't care at all. I never listened to anything he said, and I hardly ever shared anything about myself. My 18th birthday finally arrived, and my parents threw a huge birthday bash for me. The politician and his children all attended the event, and we had crazy fun. I made sure to be the blinding light of the party because I knew that my birthday was probably going to be the last day that I ever saw any of them. I also didn't want them to suspect that my escape was happening that night. Everyone was going to believe that I'd be too tired to try anything that night after all my energetic shenanigans, so they wouldn't even bother being cautious. Midnight came, and I executed my escape plan without any hitch. Everything went smoothly, and by the end of the next day, I was settled in an Airbnb in a new country far, far away from my parents and everything I'd ever known. It took me a couple of weeks, but I got an apartment, set it up, got a new phone, and began my new amazing life. I kept on working hard online, and my money continued growing. It was so much fun to know that I had finally escaped my parents, and it was time to live my life exactly how I wanted to. Once I was ready, I applied for flight school and got in. It was time to rule the world. On the first day of my flight lessons, I stepped out of my apartment, and the day was just so beautiful. I danced my way to the airport with a huge smile on my face, but this smile turned upside down once I saw who my new flight tutor was going to be. What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Are you following me?
I should be the one asking you that. What exactly are you doing here? Didn't you run away immediately after your birthday? I was all dressed, standing in the church at the altar in front of a crowd waiting for my wife-to-be when I was informed that my wedding was no longer happening. It was terrible, embarrassing, and humiliating. Have you come here to destroy my life again?
I'm really sorry that I embarrassed you. That was not my intention. I just couldn't get married to you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm glad you ran away, because I didn't want to get married to you either. My parents were forcing me into it, and I didn't have the guts at that point to refuse them.
I'm surprised that a 20-year-old billionaire can't say no to his dad.
Actually, I'm a billionaire's son, not the actual billionaire.
We both laughed.
So, what are you doing here? Did you change your mind?
Nope.
Thank God.
We laughed again. I'm here for flight lessons, and it seems you're my tutor. He looked down on the onboarding documents that he was holding.
Oh, that's right. I apologize. Get in.
You're not gonna tell my parents or yours where I am, right?
Absolutely not. On one condition, though.
Should have known he was pure evil. What? I asked a little too harshly.
I'll keep your secret only if you keep mine. You can't tell my parents or yours where I am either,
he said, winking. I blushed a little bit and accepted his condition. Mr. Money's son and I got closer and closer over time. The more time we spent together, the more we liked each other, and I was finally listening to everything he had to say. And boy, were they interesting! This guy was a rebel, just like me. A quiet rebel, unfortunately. His parents wanted him to become a politician, but he wanted to become a pilot, just like me, and took private lessons in secret. When I escaped and he was left standing all alone at the altar, he finally built the courage that he'd needed all this while, and he told his parents what he actually wanted for the first time in his life. They were disappointed, but he didn't care. He left them and came to begin a new life in a faraway place, only for him to meet the girl who ran away from him and set him free.
Don't you think this was fate?
He asked me one day, and I blushed because I felt the same way. We bonded over our weird and dramatic parents and kept going out, falling in love with each other over and over again. Our parents were very happy to hear that we were finally getting married, but their relationship was already estranged, and we never went back for fear of our new happy life being torn apart by our psycho parents.